Good morning, all. I'm not sure if we're recording yet or not. Are we? I didn't get the message yet. Yes, we're recording. Okay, good morning, all. So this morning, surgery's on my mind. Unfortunately, it's on my mind more often than it used to be, because a dear friend is, quote, under the knife right now as we speak. So it's an elective surgery, and it's a surgery to relieve her pain. But before the pain is relieved, there will be more pain. And before the functionality of the body is restored, there will be less functionality. Mm. This demands the capacity to be vulnerable and to meet and navigate the process with strength. At Pine Street Sangha, we have a continuing education program for our mental health professionals. And one of the workshops we teach, we call restorative ethics. By the way, we didn't come up with that name on our own. Someone who attended the workshop that had a different name said, "Oh, this was so restorative." And we go, yes, that's just what's needed. That was really at the beginning of the pandemic. Anyway, for this workshop, I conceived of charts, created charts that help participants track an ethical challenge that they identify for themselves early in the workshop. And they track that throughout the day. But the way I set this up is that this chart, or there's actually two of them. One of them tracks the vulnerabilities that this person, this mental health professional has that leave them vulnerable. In the morning, they take a look at all that. They meditate with that. They freeform write with that. They go through a process with that. And then in the afternoon, they look at a similarly formed chart that is about the conditions that strengthen them. So the underlying view here is that it is ethical to know our vulnerabilities. Otherwise, we are more at risk for ethical blind spots. And also that we best meet our vulnerabilities with strength. So back to my friend. So I think it takes strength to be with the vulnerability of being cut open, really the tissues and cells and the body being traumatized. And I was told that the surgery is orchestrated trauma. And I really think that was a very helpful understanding. And of course, it's done with the right intentions. It's done for the intentions of healing, which is, by the way, the topic of the week that Linda and I are speaking to. So, back to those charts at the CE workshop, the view under that is that we all have our own vulnerabilities. Yes, some shared ones, but we all have our own vulnerabilities, our own challenges. We all have things we need to heal from. Perhaps it's different from the person, likely different from the person in the square next to you on the Zoom call. Now, one view on this would be that that's about genetics. And of course, there's truth to that. But karma would be another view on that. Like, why is it that whatever, her knee is vulnerable, my back is vulnerable, your blank and blank are vulnerable? We could chalk it up to karma, but I'm not going to go too far into that topic right now. Another aspect of this is that we need people who help us with this healing process. Of course, yes, competent medical people. I'm confident that my friend has a competent surgeon. But it's also the friends and the family that surround us with their love, who bring us soup, both in fact and metaphorically, and help us through the healing process with all its demands. I went to graduate school, gosh, in '86, long time ago. And there's, bits and pieces of what I studied there that I remember specifically. And there was this one research study that I remember specifically. And, and I'm sure there's more updated information on this, but this is my memory from way back then. people were, it was a research study. Some people were prayed. So people had a heart attack. They were in a hospital after the heart attack. And then there were people, strangers on the other side of the country, and half of them were prayed for and half of them were not prayed for. And in this research study, and again, I'm sure there's other studies that would, it would come out differently. The ones who were prayed for got better quicker and lived more, I think. Now, I'm not just really talking about prayer in the more formal sense of the word, because actually that's not something I'm real close to, or I don't do it that way, but nor do most of my friends at this point. But I'm also thinking about prayer in the much broader sense of the word, sending, caring. That's a word we use in reflective meditation a lot, caring. And on that note, there's this text chain, you know, how they create that for when the person gets out of surgery so we can know how it all went, those of us who are at home, not at the hospital. So there were all kinds of texts from friends and family last evening and this morning. I'm breathing with you. I'm holding you in your surgeon's hands close to my heart. My heart, mind, and body and both my knees will be sitting with you. I think that's another form of prayer, perhaps the form of prayer that many of us are more, that's more what we do. So there are some things that just can't be healed from. All pain can't be healed away. Though there's a way to live with these vulnerabilities that is healing. And that really is a basic tenet of mindfulness, that running from pain, or dukkha, that's one translation of dukkha is pain, actually makes it worse. Though knowing dukkha can be a relief in itself. So I believe healing is a natural process, and it can take different forms. It can be just maybe by living with or alongside of the pain rather than creating a battle with it. Stephen Batchelor, who many of you know, he's a secular Buddhist teacher, or maybe even the leader of a particular secular Buddhist movement. He's translated the first of the Four Noble Truths as embrace dukkha. That was how I first heard it. That's a high bar, to actually embrace our pain. Though when I hear those words this morning, an image came to me, and it was the sense of my own arms wrapped around my own pain, and it felt greatly relieving. So there is a way to embrace dukkha. But the more recent wording that Stephen Batchelor and the secular Buddhist network are using is embrace life with all its multitude of pleasure and pain. So what is healing? You know, that is a mystery, but it's certainly part science, part emotional, part mysterious. You fill in the rest. What are the other parts? How do you understand it? Yes, the body has a natural force to heal, to survive. And different medical practitioners have all kinds of theories about how this happens. Linda spoke to that some yesterday. But I wasn't trained as a medical practitioner, but I was trained as a Dharma teacher and a psychotherapist. And I see this as the body naturally heals until it doesn't, until it faces its own demise and death comes. But the heart can heal throughout our lives, and perhaps potently, most potently for many, as we face the end of the life of our bodies. So back to my friend. In these few minutes I've been talking, her surgery probably has progressed. It was scheduled between 8 and 9:30 this morning. My last text to her last night was, seeing you as your knee begins its healing journey. Of course, her knee is not separate from her mind and body. I'll see her soon. She'll be in more pain. She'll be less able to walk. But all the while, this body-mind will be experiencing something that really seems mysterious again, the potent force to heal. And I will end my talk there. And we will sit in meditation for our usual 30 minutes. And